My name is Thomas Harlan. I'm 80 years old now. For most of my married life, 47 years, I carried a quiet conviction that something about our marriage wasn't quite right. Not terrible. Not broken in any dramatic way. Just not what I had pictured when we said our vows under that old oak tree behind the county courthouse. If you'd asked me back then if we were happy, I would have paused. That pause would have said more than any answer I could give. I might have settled on we're okay, or we've had good years, or even we're doing fine. And in that hesitation, the truth was hiding in plain sight. My wife's name was Grace Marie Harlan. We met in 1968 at a county fair when we were both 23. She was laughing at a bad joke one of her brothers told, her hair catching the late summer light. And I remember thinking I had never seen anyone look so alive. We married 2 years later. In the beginning, everything felt vivid. We talked until our voices grew hoarse about dreams, about fears, about nothing at all. We stayed up past midnight on weeknights just because we couldn't bear to let the day end. We had almost no money. A tiny apartment with peeling wallpaper, a rattling car that needed prayer to start. But we had each other's full attention. That was enough. Life, of course, didn't stay small and simple. Children arrived, 2 boys and a girl. Careers took root. I became a high school history teacher, then department head. Grace worked part-time as a librarian and raised our kids with a patience I never fully appreciated. Responsibilities piled up like snow in January, quiet, steady, relentless. Conversations that once wandered freely became efficient. Who's picking up Ethan from practice? Did you pay the water bill? We need to fix the gutter before it rains again. At first I told myself this was maturity. We were adults now. We were functioning. We were building something solid. But somewhere along the way the texture of us changed. I felt it like a slow leak, small enough to ignore, steady enough to empty the tank over time. I missed the way Grace used to lean forward when I spoke, eyes bright with curiosity. I missed feeling seen, not just noticed. I missed surprise. Instead of naming that ache and bringing it to her, I let it grow into a quiet resentment. I told myself long marriage is naturally cool. Passion fades. Routine replaces romance. I convinced myself this was normal. That dissatisfaction was simply the price of longevity. Grace saw it differently. She never demanded grand gestures. She asked for small, ordinary things. Let's eat dinner at the table tonight, no TV. Could we take a drive this weekend, just us? Thomas, can we talk after the kids are in bed? Every time I had a reasonable excuse. I was tired. I had papers to grade. There would be time later. I wasn't cruel. I wasn't cold. I was simply convinced those moments weren't urgent. I thought stability was the same as closeness. I thought reliability could stand in for intimacy. I was wrong. Looking back, I see how Grace wasn't asking for excitement. She wasn't asking for fireworks. She was asking to be chosen. She was asking for presence. And instead of hearing that as love, I heard it as pressure. I thought she was unhappy with me. So I did what wounded pride often does. I withdrew. Not dramatically, not with anger. Quietly. I became polite, efficient, dependable, and distant. From the outside, nothing appeared wrong. We still shared a house, a bed, a last name. We still smiled in family photos. But inside, a gap was widening, one small choice at a time. I kept a private tally of disappointments. Conversations that felt transactional. Days that blurred together. The way the spark I remembered seemed to have dimmed to embers. That list grew heavy, and instead of sharing it, I used it to justify the distance. I assumed I knew how she felt. I never asked. That assumption may have been the deepest wound I ever inflicted. We didn't fight often. I took the quiet as peace. Sometimes silence is only avoidance wearing a calm face. I always believed we had time. Time to fix what felt off. Time to rediscover each other when the kids moved out, when retirement came, when life slowed. Later was my favorite promise to myself. It felt safe. It felt infinite. Then Grace got sick. Pancreatic cancer. The diagnosis arrived like a slammed door. No warning, no negotiation. Suddenly, later, vanished. There was only now, and now was shrinking fast. In those first frantic weeks, I did what I knew how to do. I researched. I called specialists. I asked questions. I made plans. I needed control, even if it was an illusion. Grace let me. She knew it gave me purpose, but I missed the shift in her. She grew quieter, not defeated, but focused, as if the illness had stripped away the noise and left only what mattered. Hospitals are places of bright lights and long waits. Time moves in fragments, tests, results, more waiting. And in the spaces between, you sit beside someone you've known for nearly 5 decades and realize how many things you never said. One afternoon she asked me to pull the chair closer. Her voice was soft, worn thin but steady. "Thomas," she said, "can I tell you something, and you just listen? No fixing, no planning. Just listen." I nodded. I felt the air change. She looked at me, really looked, and said, "I loved you. I still love you. But we lost each other somewhere along the way, and we both let it happen." She wasn't angry. That was the worst part. Anger I could have met with defense. Blame I could have countered. But she spoke with grief, gentle, honest grief, for something that had slipped away long before the cancer came. She continued, "I kept hoping you'd notice. I kept asking in small ways. And when you didn't, I told myself you were tired, or busy, or that it didn't matter. So I stopped asking. Not because I stopped wanting closeness, but because I couldn't bear feeling like I was begging for it from the person I loved most." Her words landed like stones in still water. I saw myself clearly for the first time. The man who chose grading papers over listening, who chose silence over conversation, who chose comfort over courage. All those "not tonight," all those "maybe tomorrow," they weren't neutral. They were rejections. Small, reasonable rejections that accumulated into a wall neither of us knew how to climb. Then she said the sentence I still carry. "I didn't need you to be perfect, Thomas. I just needed you to be with me." I had no answer. I held her hand and let the truth settle. For the first time in years, I didn't try to fix anything. I just stayed. In the weeks that followed, we really talked. Not about schedules or bills. About us. About the young people we used to be. About the dreams we'd tucked away. About the ordinary moments we'd let pass without noticing. One night she asked what I remembered most from our early years. I told her the truth. The way her eyes lit up when she spoke, the way she leaned in like the world was full of things worth discovering. She smiled faintly and said, "I tried to keep that girl alive for both of us. I just got tired doing it alone." That sentence broke something open in me. Not because I didn't love her, I did, deeply, but because I had let her carry the emotional weight of our marriage by herself. We had more of those conversations. Small regrets, small hopes, small hurts that had stacked up over decades. They weren't dramatic. They were ordinary. And that was the cruelest truth. The damage wasn't caused by one terrible act. It was caused by 1,000 small choices. The evening I chose the news over asking about her day. The weekend I chose sleep over a walk together. The mornings I left for school without kissing her goodbye, because I was already thinking about first period. None of it felt important at the time. Together it became a life. Grace died on a Thursday morning in early spring. The hospital room was quiet. I held her hand until the monitor flatlined. Her face was calm, as if she had finally found the peace I hadn't given her enough of while she lived. After the funeral, people said kind things. "You were a good husband. She knew you loved her. Time will help." I thanked them. I nodded. I smiled politely. Then I went home to a silence that wasn't peaceful. It was absence. In the months that followed, I went through old albums and boxes of photographs. There we were, sunburned and laughing on our honeymoon, holding our newborn daughter, sitting on the porch swing with coffee in hand, standing in front of the house we painted ourselves one summer. And in every frame I saw something I'd missed for years. A good marriage. Not perfect. Not cinematic. Steady. Full of ordinary love that I had taken for granted while I searched for something more exciting. I had spent decades thinking we were missing something essential. I was wrong. What we had was better than perfect. It was enough, if only I had chosen it every day. If you're watching this and the person you love is still breathing the same air as you, go to them. Not tomorrow. Not when things slow down. Not when you feel ready. Now. You don't need grand gestures. You don't need to fix everything at once. You just need to show up. Listen without planning your reply. Ask how they feel and stay for the answer. Choose them in the small moments, because the small moments are the only ones we're promised. I thought we had time. We didn't. Don't make the same mistake I did. Thank you for listening to An Old Man's Regrets. If this stirred something in you, please subscribe. Like the video so it reaches someone else who needs to hear it. And if you feel moved to, leave a comment. What is one small thing you're going to do today to choose the person you love? I read every word. It makes the quiet house feel a little less empty. Go to them while you still can.